And it's time for another Blue Collar Genius with a special guest, my brother from another mother, a motherfucker that couldn't get away from me since motherfucking high school,
Unfortunately.
my brother Jeremy. What's up, brother? Thank you for showing up.
Yep. Thank you for food.
You're welcome. Food usually helps. So, you have an interesting story, which is why I asked if you could sit here and jump on this shindig tonight.
All right. Which one?
Oh, all of them. This is kind of a mix between telling your story this time and letting people see another perception about me from another angle instead of me talking about my damn self because, well, I don't do that very well.
You just do it a lot, though.
Fuck you. And as I start out almost every fucking show, tonight, sucker! Not bad. Not bad. So, your credentials, you used to be a tradesman.
Kinda.
What-
In varying forms.
What kind of tradesman were you?
I did cabinet work. I've done.
So you were a carpenter.
Kinda.
That's
almost.
extremely fucking dangerous for you.
Well, yeah. Fuck you.
I mean, the last time there was a famous carpenter, they fucking nailed his ass up to a cross.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, famous Jewish carpenter, anyways.
I'm about as Jewish as you are.
In name only.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, you've held a lot of different jobs.
Yeah, like just general construction, just unskilled labor. And then,
Definitely
I mean,
can
I
say
guess
that
if you
about
if,
you,
if you want
unskilled.
to count the
You've been a bouncer.
I've been a bouncer, but if you want to count like the stagehand work and shit like that too.
Yeah, you've done all that. You're
Yeah.
kind of a jack of all trades, didn't master shit.
At all, not even close.
Now, the most startling fact for people, some people are going, who the fuck is this fat fuck?
Yep, slightly less fat fuck than normal.
Well, you used to be, you said what, 580?
No. My highest recorded.
600?
No, it was 541. That was the highest recorded. I was probably heavier than that, but it took me a while to realize that I should go get on a freight scale at the hospital.
Oh,
I'm not joking. I went to the doctor and he's like, "How much do you weigh?" And he's because he didn't have a scale that went up high enough. I'm like, "I have no fucking clue." So he's like, "Go to the hospital." So I went to the hospital and I asked. I went into the ER and I'm like, "Can I weigh myself?" They're like, "Yeah, the freight scale's out back." And I'm like, "Seriously?" They're like, "Yeah, we don't have anything that goes over 500 pounds." I'm like, "Enough said." So I went onto the loading dock. I got on the freight scale and it was 541, and that's after I had been like dieting and started getting like a lot of walking and shit in for probably about a month. So I probably was closer to, I was on the plus side of 550 easily.
what's that mentally do to you to have to get on a fucking freight scale to weigh yourself?
At that point, like when you were as big as I was for as long as I was, when it comes to like pride about your appearance and like that type of thing, it doesn't exist. At least not for me, it didn't. I knew exactly how much of a fat fuck I was, so I just accepted it. And considering how big I was still relatively fucking active. Like I was still working at the club. I was still doing security and shit like that. I mean, it helps being a door guy when you're the size of the fucking door, so you just stand in the way. So you break up fights by physically putting yourself between the two of them. Nothing that they can do. They can't get around you. They can't get through you. So that was about it.
Still, that's got to take a bit of an emotional and ego toll on you.
When you're that big, if you still have an ego, you have a fucking mental issue.
Well, what I'm saying is that a healthy ego is kind of hard to
Oh
maintain.
yeah, no, there's no self-esteem at that point. It's just non-existent. It's not even a negative number.
That's got to be a bit fucking miserable at times, though.
Oh yeah, no, it definitely was. Especially, I mean, on all fronts. Like I was married, and so she was miserable because of my weight, and like to the point where she was genuinely scared for my fucking life. I was I was like a ham sandwich away from a fucking heart attack probably. And like, I mean, I don't know how I was as heavy as I was. My cholesterol was perfect, but I didn't have like high my blood pressure was like slightly elevated.
Damn.
So
What are you down to now?
Now I'm hanging out at 315. Since moving up to New Jersey, and basically I became slightly more sedentary, and my diet has been not as restrictive as it was, like, obviously post-op, but so I put a little bit of weight back on, but I've also been back in the gym, and I'm like genuinely lifting weights regularly now. So probably some of the weight gain
Muscle mass.
is putting back on some muscle mass finally.
Well, the computer we use to run this. You remember Jew Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the one. He does computer repair and rebuilds now. So out of New York.
Yeah, and I know I talked to him when I moved back up there. When I get back up, we're gonna try and set aside some time to hook up.
Well, I didn't know you two swung that way, but it's not a surprise.
Ah, dude, me and Brian Shaw, we fucking bum rushed the stage one night when he was doing fucking karaoke. He was singing "I'm Too Sexy," and me and Brian Shaw, we had the whole fucking bar thinking we were gay lovers, like we were slow dancing, and I had my head on his fucking shoulder and everything. And so he started singing "I'm Too Sexy," and me and Brian bum rushed the stage and started trying to rip off his fucking pants. It was hilarious. The woman who won the karaoke contest that night went over to Dave and Brian, and she was like, "I'm so glad you and your boyfriend don't feel that you have to hide your relationship in public and everything else like that." Brian could barely keep a straight face.
Oh God, I was such a bad influence on you.
Yeah, pretty much. You introduced me. If it wasn't your direct influence, you introduced me to the other people that were the bad influence. So, indirectly, it's all your fucking fault.
I didn't set really much of a good example growing up and
At
going through
all.
high school either.
Nah. Well, I mean, I didn't know you at Lake Worth High. I only knew
No,
you.
you knew me at Olympic.
At Olympic, yeah.
And I wasn't exactly the most well behaved.
No, you should. I'm proud to say that I'm the reason you showed up to at least one class every day.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
I came to English just to hang out with you.
yeah, pretty much. So it works.
Oh,
Miss
poor
Smith was pretty cool though.
Yeah, poor lady though.
Yeah, I know. It was funny. She thought I was going to be the problem child, and she even. Do you remember? She
Yeah.
even pulled us aside and said, "I thought
Like
Jeremy,
right in the middle of
yeah,
the year too. It was like
yeah.
right dead in the middle of the year, like right as the third semester was starting. She's like, when we first started class, Jeremy, I was terrified of you that you were going to be a problem, and I didn't know what I was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then she looks at me, and it turns out it was you I had to worry about the whole fucking time.
Yep. Nah, Miss Smith loved me.
No, you were a good little student.
Yeah. I had a lot of fun in that class.
I had fun in that class too.
Yeah, well, no, because more than just you, Gina was in that class. She sat in front of me. I had a lot of fun with Gina.
Oh, I know.
Gina was awesome.
She had a thing for you the whole time.
She did. That's just because John broke up with her, but whatever.
Yeah. C'est la vie.
Yeah.
His loss, your gain.
Yeah, she was fun.
Oh, shit. So, you've lost all this weight.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel better about yourself? Do you feel
yeah.
self-esteem coming back?
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. I mean, like, I was an asshole before when I was still that fucking size, but, like, yeah, I definitely, there's definitely self-esteem coming back. There's, like, I give a fuck about how I look. Like, I trimmed up the beard so I don't look as mountain man-ish. I mean, and, like, yeah, I take care of myself a little bit better, like, appearance-wise. I don't wear my clothes to the point of them disintegrating off my body anymore. Like, it's kind of cool.
Probably nice buying new clothes.
It's not as big of a, it's not as emotionally
Taxing?
no, not taxing. It's more like clothes shopping at 540 pounds is like emotional fucking masochism. It's like I might as well. I'd rather just go to fucking Akbar the tent maker and just and like get a fucking muumuu, because then at least I'm wearing something that I know is gonna fit. I don't have to sit there and like get out of breath changing my fucking pants, like trying on fucking clothes and shit. It sucked.
Fuck.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
I didn't realize it was that fucking hard.
Oh, dude, it was nuts. I got out of breath fucking doing anything. I literally, it was like wearing 6 winter coats that I just couldn't take off.
Damn.
It's like the kid in fucking Christmas Story when she fucking bundles him all up and he can't fucking move his arms and his legs. Like I kind of looked like that.
So, silly question for you. What's the most poignant, like if someone mentions me to you, What's the first thing that pops into your head when you're thinking, like, story-wise?
When you left English class that one day,
Which one?
when you decided you didn't want to take the stairs from the second floor.
Oh, God, that was a bad move.
I
on
don't
my
even
part.
know why you did that, but you're like, all right, later, dude, and you just hopped over the fucking railing and jumped. Everybody started crowding around you because the way your fucking legs went up, it looked like you broke them. And you just get up, brush yourself off, and you're like, later, and just start walking to your car. I'm just fucking cracking up while everybody else is staring at you like, dude, are you sure you're okay? And you're walking off. Need to warn your other friends before they meet you. Yeah, that's you. I need to prep anybody that doesn't know you. I need to prep them before I bring you around.
You say the sweetest things.
That's the truth.
Funny, whenever people mention you to me, the story I remember first, that just always pops into my head.
Oh, see, then there's the other one though too.
Which other
Well,
one?
let's hear yours because it might be the same one.
Is that first day of English class.
Oh no, that's a different one.
That-
Yeah, no, that was a good one though.
I always think about, like, here I see you just wearing all black. I'm in all black.
Yeah,
And
wearing
I'm
my,
like,
my Metallica baseball cap.
and I'm like, I can hang out with that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I sit down next to you, and I'm like, I see you're in all black, and I'm in all black. We're gonna be friends. And you just look at me and like, okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
You were like, it sounds inevitable.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not even gonna fight this one.
Yeah, pretty much. You were literally the second person I'd met in the state. Like Dave Leal, you remember Dave? He he was like Mexican and from like his mom was from Ecuador or something, but he drove the red Mustang convertible.
Okay, I vaguely. I don't like. I was never like close
Yeah,
friends with him.
yeah, no. He was the first person I met because we were both just transferring in, so we were in the office registering, so we just started bullshitting and we hung out a bunch.
So what's the second story? You
When a certain, I don't even know if you're friends with him anymore, but a certain former mutual friend of ours got his ass kicked at my fucking apartment, and we went back to go
the
when the cop pulled us over, leaving JFK in the caravan of like 6 cars, everybody going back to my old apartment. Yeah, that was a good one. Basically,
pulling all the axes.
yeah,
that,
like because all the shit that we had in the fucking truck. Like I guess he overheard everybody and saw everybody because he was the cop that was hanging out in the ER at JFK.
Well, no, there was a gang shooting, and
Yeah, oh, that's right. At the same time, and all of us are milling about. There's like what, like 30 of us
Yeah.
hanging out in the
and
parking lot.
we
at
got
JFK.
mixed in with those same group of guys, and they
Yeah.
thought we were friends with the kid who got shot when we
Yeah.
all pulled out.
Yeah, and like it was like 6 cars had pulled out, and you and I were in the last vehicle that left the parking lot. So he went and
Stopped us.
stopped us, and he gets out of his car and does the whole like skirting around. Like he comes around to the door, but he's like 15 feet back, hand on his fucking gun, and he's like, "Is there anything in the car that I need to know about?" And like both of us, you had your hands up on the fucking wheel. I had my hands up on the thing as soon as he pulled us over. And you were like, all right, where do we start? And we just start lifting off all the fucking swords and axes and knives, and like you even at that point you always had that one lanyard with the knife around your neck under your shirt. Oh,
Oh,
shush.
go lay down, Bubbas.
Yeah, come here. Come on. No? All right, just stare at me, whatever. But yeah, and then so he the cops just doesn't know what the fuck to do. He's like, and then of course the one thing that kind of bothers him is the practice nightstick that you had.
The police baton.
The
practice.
police baton, yeah, the fiberglass one. It wasn't even like solid wood or like hard plastic. It was like you could sit there and you could bend it.
Yeah.
So, and that was the one thing he was worried about until you told him about like your
my godfather.
Your godfather, yeah.
Yeah, it was a training PR-24, old 80s practice issue.
And so like after we go down the list of everything that we had behind the bench seat in the truck and in the glove box, and after you explain that whole thing about the practice baton, the cop just looks at us and he's like, "You're bringing a knife to a gunfight, aren't you?" And we were like, "Pretty much." So We got separated from everybody else, and that's exactly what he was trying to do. He was
Yeah.
hoping that shit wouldn't go down if he broke up the. Hi, what's up? You cannot put your mouth in my mouth.
Well, he heard you talk about the gay stuff.
Yeah, I know. I'm not. I might.
Knox, lay down.
Knox. All right.
Oh shit.
You can't eat the mic stand either, dude.
He's like,
You can.
"Yo."
You can try.
Oh,
but
he'll
it's-
definitely try.
It's not going to do much, except probably hurt you. But yeah, there's that story too. That was always fun. That was a good night. Not really.
Not really.
Not really.
What's like we keep doing this. Like there's a year or so where we hang out off and on
No,
regularly.
that's our group, though. We always do this. We have the people that we see on a daily basis, and then there's the family that basically we quarterly catch up almost. It's like, all right, you guys are still alive. All right, cool. What's going on? What you been up to? And then you just like, all right, cool. And
But you and I kind of have a tendency to go like a year
oh
or
yeah,
two,
we go,
3
we, go,
years.
we do that.
And then it's like out of the blue, I'll be like, I'll hit you up, or out of the blue, you'll hit me up. And it's like, oh,
Yeah.
how's it going? Yeah, let's catch up. We'll hang out for a couple weeks straight and
Yeah.
then back to life again.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's the way we've always been, though. Like, I mean, in high school.
Even after high school. Even in
Yeah.
high school, like some weeks we would hang out on our weekends together,
Mhm.
and then we go a month or two. We
Yeah.
just saw each other in class and
Yeah, pretty
at
much.
lunch, and that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just the way we've always been. So, I mean, then your job sometimes would take you away for long periods of time and shit like that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, Grandma always asks about you. Grandma, and you're always the one that she just kind of laughed and shook her head at, and
But she loved me.
oh, she still does. She still does. She always asks about you.
I was the one that she's like, that boy's trouble, but he's good
Yeah.
trouble.
Yeah, pretty much. She knew you always had my back, so she trusted you.
I'm the one he has to explain to everyone before they meet me.
And I'm not the only one that feels that way either.
Name names, motherfucker!
I don't have that much time.
Wow.
Pretty much everybody. If they don't happen to know you, yes, you need prefacing.
And what kind of prefacing do you typically sit here and give them out of curiosity?
All right, he's a little fucking crazy, which is basically just preparing them for a lot of fucking crazy you are. And that you're relatively loud, you genuinely don't give a fuck, and that you're going to make very, very inappropriate jokes and comments at pretty much any given point in time, and that you just kind of have to deal with it.
Oh, you do realize that's because it's high-functioning Asperger's.
Yeah, I know.
It's
High
no one-
functioning something.
High-functioning. Oh, shit. Fuck you. You know what's the funny part is how many girlfriends that we had in common over the years.
We had girlfriends in common?
Oh, 2 of them.
Did we?
Yeah, the blonde,
I don't remember. Who's the blonde?
the short blonde,
The
back
short
in the
blonde.
Chaos Inc. days.
Short
She had
blonde.
the blonde, real short. She was like 5'2".
Glasses?
She wore her glasses, yes.
What? She was friends with Ruben's ex. What was her name? Meredith?
Yeah,
I didn't realize you dated Meredith.
yeah.
Oh,
Until Melissa stole me away from her.
I got you.
I mean, who could say no to what's her tits?
Yeah. Who's the other? Who's the second one then?
The chickie from Port St. Lucie.
Chickie from Port.
She ended up living with you for a while.
Are you sure you're thinking about the right person?
She was living in Port St. Lucie.
What
She
was her
coming.
name?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Also another short-haired girl, but hers was like almost black. She
Who,
died.
Jody?
Yeah, thank you.
Jody wasn't from Port St. Lucie. She was from Vero.
Yeah, Vero, Port St. Lucie, Sebastian. Yeah.
When did you date Jody?
When I was staying up in Wabasso.
Again, I had no clue because when I started dating Jody, she was actually she was just with Will.
Yeah, but the funny part is I didn't fuck either one of them. So that's why I was like, oh, okay, cool.
I had no idea.
Really? Those bitches didn't tell you?
No.
Yeah, Jody and I almost, but she was just a little too crazy for me.
No, she was nuts. No, she still is. At least as far as I know.
Like, I was like, whoa, this is way too
She,
much.
I've been with way crazier than her though.
Oh, I thought I was into crazy chicks, and then I'm like, I like them, but I know when not to fuck them. And you're like, oh, it's super crazy, so crazy even JT won't stick his dick in it. I'm going head
And
first.
that's because those are the only ones that would say yes.
I don't believe that at all.
Uh,
There was others that say yes, but they were kind of tame.
I don't know. I think it's my destiny in life to sample the crazy.
Crazy's fun for a
I,
while.
yeah. There's that one Jurican chick I dated up in New York right after Seth died. That's coming up too. Actually,
Yeah,
that's in 3 days.
I know.
12-year anniversary is in 3 days.
I miss Seth some days.
Yeah, I miss him every day.
I know you do, but
Nah,
like,
no.
there's it's the fucked up part is like I went through that with you with Seth, like
Mhm.
in the hospital and all that,
Mhm.
and then just a couple years ago, a very good friend, similar type of situation.
Mhm.
Uh, sorry, there's another kid, Josh Stein,
Mhm.
who almost similar situation to Seth. Met him when he was young. In this case, 17. His dad. I worked with his dad. We were
Mhm.
partners in doing private security,
Mhm.
and his dad threw him out like weeks before his 18th birthday.
Awesome.
He's like, I can't deal with him. He's driving my wife crazy, which wasn't his mother,
Mhm.
and his mother won't take him. He's like, I can't have him living with me right now. It's just too much.
Mhm.
He's not following the rules. He's not going to school. Yada yada.
Mhm.
I'm like, well, send him over to my house. I'll take
Mhm.
care of him.
Sounds like you.
And so from that time period, for about 6 months, he lived with me.
Mhm.
Ended up getting him into the army
Mhm.
with the help of my sister, who prior service.
Yeah.
Kid goes overseas, does his tours, loses friends like they all do.
Mhm.
Comes back, you know,
Better head on his shoulders.
no,
No.
no. He's got you're gonna have PTSD when you lose people you're
Oh
close to.
yeah, I know, but I'm talking about like from when he first came over to you versus
Oh, he definitely matured a lot.
yeah.
But you know, so I mean, I helped him with that, and then turns out he has ALS.
Awesome.
So
That's always a good time.
yeah, 2 years ago, I believe it was now going on 2 years ago, he died from ALS
Fun.
at 25.
Wow. Yeah, that's he had a year more than Seth did. Seth was 24.
And then 2-3 months after he passed, his wife actually had his daughter.
Nice. Good timing.
Yeah, well, hey, he's got a legacy at least.
That's good.
You know,
The genes continue on.
the hope is that I can. I want to find someone who went through boot camp and AIT with him,
Mm-hmm.
and then someone who served with him. There's a gentleman, Crispy 11 Bravo on Instagram, who
Mm-hmm.
served with Josh. That hopefully he'll reach back. I'd like to sit him or another brother that served with him,
Mm-hmm.
but Crispy, because from my understanding, the two of them were also very close,
Cool.
and someone who went through basic and AIT with him. So there we have all three aspects of his life,
Mm-hmm.
because Crispy knew him after post service as well.
Mm-hmm.
That just sit down and talk about him and tell the stories about him, so we can send it to his wife or his daughter when she's old enough to sit down and watch three drunk fucking idiots talk and tell stories about how much they loved her father.
That's always a good time.
You know, sort of like what we did with Seth. That's kind of where the idea came from.
Yeah. Well, his birthday just passed on the 20th. So
Yeah, I know.
it,
The
it
memories all popped up on Facebook for
yeah,
me.
it's just fucked up. It's just like because you go birthday and then you wait a week and a half and anniversary. So that's Monday. And then on top of all of that, it's just like with Wagner just fucking passing too.
Not someone I was acquainted with.
You didn't know Tom?
No.
One-legged dude used to ride around West Palm. He used to fucking
Oh, wait, he's got a son. Does he have a son?
no
Oh, okay.
kids. He was at Rocky back in the day. He was like he was friends with everybody.
Except for me, I wasn't very friendly.
Well, no, but he used to do with like the bike rickshaws around West Palm and everything.
Okay.
And I mean, he had one leg, and he actually, yeah, he just recently died. He was living up in Rochester. He was living up there with his girlfriend, and
Kind of hard to have a rickshaw business up in Rochester.
well, he wasn't doing that up there,
Oh.
jackass. But nah, he was one of the when Seth first got down here, he still had both of his legs, and then they told him like pretty soon after his 18th birthday that he was gonna that the cancer had come back and it destroyed the hip replacement, which is why he still had a leg. So it destroyed the hip replacement, so the hip had to go. There was nothing more to attach to because where they attached it to got all fucked up from the tumor coming back. So that's why he had one leg. The leg itself technically was perfectly fine. It was the hip that got fucked up. So I was talking to Tom, and because I found out about Seth having to have his leg amputated before Seth did, they wanted me to be in the room when they told him. So,
Understandably.
yeah, so when all of a sudden I show up in the middle of the day when I'm supposed to be at work, he knew something was up as soon as I walked in the room. But what's it called? I was talking to Tom about it after the fact, after Seth had lost his leg, and he showed up and he kind of sat down with Seth and told him because Tom had lost, he had more of his leg, he lost it below the knee, Seth lost it at the hip, but sat down and like talked with Seth and kind of explained what it was like and like stuff that he had to go through and everything. And Tom lost it when he was a lot younger. Seth was at least 18 when he lost his leg. Tom was way younger.
Oh, that's good.
But it's like he's like just on a long list of people that like I kind of brought into Seth's life that wound up doing like a lot of really really cool shit involving him. So, and like for him.
Speaking of Seth, and after he lost his leg, tell anyone that's listening, because it's my favorite story regarding Seth, is when we took him to the strip club.
He was such a fucking. He was so nervous. He didn't know what to do. Like the first time we took him over there, what was it? Flashdance.
Yep.
The first, like we had to force him to tip. I don't remember Marie. That's right. Her stage name was Alana, but she was the first person he tipped, and like he like tried to hold up the fucking the dollar. He would like nervously held it up in his hand, and she walked over to him and she took it out of his hand. She folded it, put it in his mouth, and then took it with her tits and like just buried his face in her fucking boobs. And he turned like just completely head to toe beet red. It was fucking hilarious.
And then follow up with his first lap dance.
Yeah, he just didn't know what the fuck to do with himself. With the cancer and everything, he kind of resigned himself to being alone. So he never put himself mentally in the situation where he would actually like be around a naked woman. So yeah.
Well, we got him from. My favorite was when he finally had a little bit of courage to deal with this, and
Oh yeah.
he was about to get a lap dance, and he asked the girl, "So, do I get half off since I only have half a lap?"
And she did it.
That was the best part. She did it.
Yeah, he paid $12.50 for a fucking lap dance. I forgot about that shit. That was also Marie.
Yeah, I know.
That was one of the first ones too. Yeah, like he was so nervous going up there the first time trying to tip anybody. By the time we stopped hanging out there, like he was like taking the dollar bill, folding it, and putting it on the top of his head and shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a fucking trip.
That kid fucking adjusted quick though.
Yeah, he enjoyed himself. He actually, I think, wound up like going on a date with her.
Yeah.
And I think she's the reason. I don't know fully what happened, but as far as I know, she's the reason why he did not die a virgin. So that's a good thing.
Thank you, Marie. You were
Thank
a
you,
great lady.
Marie. I owe you a lot for sleeping with my brother.
Oh shit, Fox.
Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah.
He could definitely had a
Oh,
interesting take on life towards the end too.
well, I mean, when you're that young and you're facing your like, he was diagnosed at 16, so you're facing your mortality at that young. So he kind of that it just kind of adjusted everything. Like even when they told him he was going to lose his leg, I sat there in the room with him. I didn't leave, and he cried for about 30 hours, pretty
Uh,
much straight.
I
And
remember because
at the end of it, he was just like, "All right, let's just get this shit over with." He came to terms with it. He accepted it. He mourned for the loss of his leg, and then that was it. He's like, "All right, let's fucking get this shit done and fucking move on." So,
I wouldn't say he totally accepted it at that point. 'Cause
well,
I remember sitting and talking to him in the hospital after they
hmm
amputated his leg, and you left the room for a bit,
yeah,
and he's like, I'm gonna live, but he was kind of resigned to, I'm not gonna have much of a life.
yeah.
And
Well,
I remember talking to him, going, bro, don't even worry about it. Like,
hmm
you got shit twisted when it comes to women if you think a leg matters.
yeah.
I'm like, if your dick works, you're gonna be fine. I promise you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like that was the other good thing. Like he wound up he was going to FAU. He wound up meeting this one cat, Jason, and they became like really really good friends. Like I'm still very much in contact with Jason on a regular basis. He's living up in Jacksonville now. But like Seth was like he was like I'm never gonna fucking drive. He didn't want to get his driver's license or anything, and Jason convinced him to do so, because there was no reason not to. It was like he lost his left leg, so it wasn't gonna interfere with driving. He just couldn't drive stick. But like he had such a fucking great sense of humor about everything. Like they told me about this one time that they were hanging out at a bar that Jason was doing security at, and so he would just go and hang out with Jason while he was working, and he would drink and everything. And this one like really old like Vietnam vet guy that like sits at the end of the bar and tells all kinds of fucking war stories and shit got really really wasted one night, and they like walked over to Seth and he's like, "Don't let anybody tell you that there's nothing you can't do." And straight face Seth just looked at him. He's like, "I can't ride a bike." And
That's
the
so
guy
sad.
the guy didn't even know what to say, because it's like, how do you ride a bike with one leg? So I mean, Tom pulled it off, but at least he had like he had the mechanic, he had the prosthetic, and he had most of his legs. Seth had no leg on the left hand side. So, and then of course, of all things, I'm like cut to like literally 10 years later. I'm sitting in my car eating my lunch on my lunch break at a park just because I needed to get out of my fucking office, and this guy comes fucking riding by with one leg on on a bicycle that's not motorized. He basically used it almost like a scooter. He sat on the seat and he was like just kicking it, and he had where his left leg should have been, he had a mount for his crutch. So it was. I'm like, yeah, I wish Seth was alive to have seen that. And it's like, motherfucker, he just proved you wrong.
Some asshole just proved you wrong. Sorry,
Yeah,
brother.
so you're kind of fucked on that front.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
So you've moved away. You're back for a couple of days, weeks,
Weeks.
whatever,
Yeah,
months, years.
I came down for Grandma for Mother's Day, and then to go to Slayer and Amon Amarth. And I've
He's
never
really
seen Cannibal Corpse
he's
either.
really down here to see Slayer and Cannibal
No, I
Corpse.
came here for Mother's Day for Grandma. I mean,
Liar!
she loves Mother's Day more than she loves her own birthday.
I know.
Yeah. So I mean, I've been gone 6 months. I mean, as much as I love being back up north, not so much the places that I miss down here. I miss Grandma. I miss the people, and the concept of being able to go anywhere completely and totally no plans by myself and still like run into 100 people I know. I can't do that up in Jersey. I know like I know a fuck ton of people that like live in Staten Island, and I'm living with my family now and shit like that, but like I can't just like up and go somewhere. I mean, I can, but I'm just going to be there completely totally by my fucking self. So
But you've also, lived down here for
22 years.
Yeah,
Yeah, I moved down here when I was 17. And
no shit.
yeah,
I
fuck
would have
yeah.
never been able to do the math.
I can barely fucking do math anymore, dude.
And that's why you didn't have to end up worrying about getting crucified as a Jew carpenter.
Yeah, I was shitty with fractions. I cut it twice and it was still too short. That's a quote from my Moyle.
Oh shit! Cut it twice and it was still too short. Didn't have the wood stretcher, huh?
No wood stretchers.
So, what's your end goal weight like?
I don't really have one. It's just more of a lifestyle change. Like I can only eat like I eat less than my grandmother at this point in a sitting. Like we went out to eat when she picked me up at the airport yesterday, and like she had a burger and I had like she had a burger. She ate the burger and like half of her fries. I got like some chicken fingers. I had like 4 French fries and 2.5 chicken tenders, and I was stuffed to the gills. So yeah, I eat so much less. So and I'm back. Like I said, I'm back in the gym and I'm lifting again. Because if nothing else, like I found a gym that's like 2 miles away from my house. So I walk the 2 miles as a warm up, and then I lift for an hour, and then I walk the 2 miles back. So
Uphill through the snow both ways?
no. It's pretty flat, and luckily I live close enough to the water up there that it kind of regulates the snow. Unless it's really really fucking cold, we don't get too much snow. I'm down by Seaside. Unfortunately, it's like it's all the fucking fist pumping douchebags from Jersey Shore. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I fucking hate those douchebags.
Nice shirt, by the way.
Thank you. I had to get it for this new season of Game of Thrones.
I'm actually totally pissed off with all the memes when it comes to Game of Thrones.
What do you mean all the memes? Because there's a fuck ton of them.
All of them, because I don't identify with any of them.
Oh, okay.
Like, I can't say I've never watched an episode of Game of Thrones, because I have.
Okay.
I don't care for the show because, I'm one of those guys who reads the books.
Yeah.
And, of course, the story started to diverge too much from the books for my taste. And I'm like,
And
fuck this, I'm done with it.
This season, they're out of content. They're going all on their own.
So I was like, oh, I couldn't. I didn't like that. I didn't think the author was that great of a fucking storyteller
I
anyway.
can't read the books. There's too much detail in the books.
But I see so like there's no meme out there like everyone. Well, I have, so I can't say that shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't break people's balls that way.
Yeah, no, I definitely dig on the show. It's fun, and I mean, lots of gratuitous nudity and violence. But I mean, it's kind of cool because like there's like all the Spartacus show that was on Stars or whatever.
I've never got it.
I couldn't do it just because like they don't. I hated it because it was like modern speech set in a previous time, I guess, and like I don't mind the gratuitous sex and violence. That's fine. That doesn't bother me. It's it's like when they're cursing, like you and I are cursing, like in this fucking conversation. It doesn't seem right if they're sitting there wearing a toga cursing like us. It's like I understand you're trying to give it some context and the connotations of the words, but at the same time,
it seems out of period because they're in period dress.
Yeah, it never sat right with me. So yeah, fuck that shit. But Game of Thrones is good. But see, like you're talking about diverging from the book, like American Gods. I don't know if you've watched it.
No, I haven't read the books either, so I'll probably watch the show.
The novel is amazing, and I've probably read it at least 5 times. It's like in my top 10 favorite novels of all time.
Sort of like me and Starship Troopers.
Yeah, exactly. But what's good about the show, because it does totally diverge from the book as far as like the amount of content. But it's because the author is involved in the show and like
he's helping write the screenplay.
Well, no, it's not even that he's helping write this. It's all content that he approves, and like he did an interview early on. And he was like, awesome. Now I have all of this. I have something to do with the 600 pages of content that I had to edit out of the original novel. So it's all of this shit that he had already written.
Okay, so it's the stuff he couldn't fit in the book.
Yeah, because the novel itself was already fucking long enough. So it's stuff that he had to edit down. And like the casting on the show is absolutely fucking fantastic, and the storyline is great, and it's like the old gods versus the new gods, so it's like all the old pantheons versus like
Modern day.
TV and internet and all of that modern day quote unquote gods. So it's just an interesting fucking concept.
Oh, I've seen it. And I'm interested. I just haven't. I'm waiting for it to come on Hulu or Netflix.
Yeah, it's I think it's on Hulu. I
I'll
don't
have to
fucking
check.
know. Is it a Cinemax show or a Star show? I don't
It's
know.
one of the two. I think it stars.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a great show, but the novel's really fucking good too. And then there's a spin-off novel too, which was really good, Anansi Boys. But which is that itself is a great story, and it like the casting for the spin-off. Not the casting for the spin-off. The god that they based the spin-off on, Mr. Nancy, is Orlando Jones, which he could not have been there. They could not have picked a better person for that character. And so yeah, no, it's perfect. I hope they do. I hope they do a spinoff for Nancy Boys too.
Okay.
That'd be fucking awesome.
So, what are some of you? I mean, you obviously love American Gods, the book.
Oh yeah.
What other books? Like, because I know we
Oh,
all have those.
Dresden.
The Dresden Files.
Dude, hands down, no question. Jim Butcher fucking hit the nail on the head with that series. And there's so much fucking content, and everybody's still chomping at the bit for the next fucking book, but it should hopefully be this year.
Fuck book. I want the TV series to come back.
Oh, they need to do the TV series better than what they did.
Oh, well, I could agree, but it's even if you weren't a fan of the TV series, you got to admit it was still pretty decent for what it was.
It's just more content. I mean, they did a couple graphic novels that weren't actual novels. They did some that were novels, like Stormfront, and a couple of the other like actual novels they turned into graphic novels. But then they did some other standalone graphic novels.
So, with that, talking about graphic novels, etc., what were your feelings about Constantine then?
The TV show was fucking awesome.
You didn't like the movie?
Oh, the movie it wasn't accurate. So I mean, Keanu Reeves is a good actor. I like him.
I agree with you. And they actually had him. The TV series Constantine was in another TV show.
Well, he's constantly like, from what I understand, he's showing up like in Legends of Tomorrow and stuff like that. So they're using him like when the show dropped. What show? CW or whatever that does all the DC TV shows.
Yeah.
They picked up all the rights to it, so you can watch like the one season of Constantine on their.
But he also they use that character as Constantine in other shows.
Absolutely.
I was like, that's fucking pretty cool.
And they've been fucking teasing bringing him back, and like like from what I understand, all the fans are all for it because it was so much more true to the fucking story and the character and everything else like that.
Oh, it helps that he had a British accent.
Oh, that too. I mean, yeah, the movie was entertaining for what it was. And I mean, I like the cast that was in it.
Which was a venture into, can this be made into something that people will watch?
It was one of the few comic book movies before comic book movies were the thing to do. Like, and then of course I have the unpopular opinion where I didn't like Endgame.
Oh, I haven't seen it. So.
Yeah. So like it's funny. I posted on Facebook that I finally went to see Endgame, and my true and honest opinion is kind of meh. And so a couple people, they were like, we were so afraid to post just because of the attacking that we would get from people. And it's just like, I thought it had its good points, but overall it wasn't worth 3 hours. And I think there's pretty much any of the other Marvel movies I would have rather watched. Like I would have rather watched Infinity War again.
Well, I know this is a very unpopular opinion for someone who's seen pretty much every Marvel show and movie out there.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to watch Infinity Wars and I just was like, no.
See, I liked Infinity War. Infinity War was good. It's just Endgame was just whatever.
I wasn't a big fan of Infinity War. I don't like Ant-Man.
I like Ant-Man. I just like I like Paul Rudd though.
I like Paul Rudd as an actor. I don't like. I never cared for the character Ant-Man.
No, me either.
Or
I, mean,
Wasp.
I couldn't care about either of the characters, but Paul Rudd I enjoy.
I liked Black Panther. Actually, the fact of the matter is, I was never a fan of the character, but I love what the actor did with the character.
Oh yeah,
in
the movie
Like,
was great.
Marvel always just never gave the Black Panther,
Mm-hmm.
what he should have been, and what they did with it, and they did an amazing fucking job.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Of course, I'm a huge fan of Guardians of the Galaxy,
Yeah, and rightfully so because it was fucking awesome.
and Rocket's the shit.
Yep, that's who you are.
Fuck you.
That's a very accurate. Holy shit! I never put that together till you just said that. You're a fucking yeah, absolutely, dude. You're a raccoon. A genetically modified raccoon, but you're a raccoon.
I'm gonna get a very, very, very big gun.
Oh, okay. It's not going to change the facts.
It'll change the fact that you're saying that shit.
Well, I won't physically be able to say it anymore. I won't be. I'll still be right.
That's not the point.
At this moment, it is. I'll say it while I can.
Dick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna steal your wallet later.
Good luck. My pants are pretty tight.
Challenge accepted.
That reminds me of the fucking shitty ass movie Gamers. It basically was. I think it was like a college project or whatever, film student, and he basically turned his gaming group's session into like a movie.
Really?
Yeah, there's a couple of them, but there was one where he was talking like the rogue went into the bar and he's like, I want to steal this guy's pants. And so he gave him like a really high DC and he nailed it. And so because what it would do is like it would show the guys sitting down in their gaming session, and then it would cut to the guys acting out what their characters were doing, like in costume and everything. And so
Sounds entertaining.
yeah, it was fun. And so he's like, I stole this guy's pants while he's sitting at the bar, and he had no idea. And it shows him as the rogue, and he's just like, and he just, whoop, yeah, just has the guy's pants in his hands. Then,
Well, since we're talking about, I actually became acquainted with an author because I read his books, Jason Cheeks, who turns out I read his first book, and I'm reading it, and he's talking about places here in Palm Beach County.
oh, great.
And I'm going, I know this place. I know this place. I know this place. I know that place.
You know the author, don't you?
I didn't know him, but we started talking.
Oh, okay, cool.
And we became very close friends over talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he grew up here in Palm Beach County, that's why he knew all of this.
Mm-hmm.
He went to similar places like the Hidden Guild and places like that. We have friends in common from the gaming groups. He was a gamer too.
Okay,
Just a couple years older. It was rather entertaining to find out.
that's cool.
And hopefully when he comes back into town, he'll be sitting in the couch and talking. But he writes. If you ever had become an author, he writes along the same type of lines I think you would.
Okay.
And the fact that there's, gaming elements because it's a lit RPG book.
Mm-hmm.
Also, that there's sex, and it's not just sex with regular NPCs, but NPCs of all different races.
Nice.
In fact, he gets a lot of shit. There's a group going after him because the main character has sex with a centaur who is super hot on top.
Nice.
But he, of course, wouldn't go into how it happened, but.
Oh no, you got to go into details.
Well, Jason, if you're watching this, hear that? He says you got to go into more detail. Fuck what those assholes say. No, he actually has to. There's actually the fucked up part is there's a group of lit RPG authors.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not part of their bandwagon, they try to get you
Torpedo
banned.
you.
Yeah, torpedo you, get you thrown off Amazon Prime.
Fucking assholes.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, that's stupid. Nah, seriously, go for details. I would definitely read more if I came up to a point where a human was trying to fuck a centaur.
Oh, it happens in his book.
Yep. Hell,
Jason Cheeks.
I think they actually even broached the subject on fucking Hercules back in the day, where there was a human that fell in love with a centaur and they had a kid.
But yeah, I think he's a great author. He's entertaining.
And I think the mother was the human. I think the father was the centaur.
Well, we all know how that happened.
But
Oh,
I definitely, if I came across that in a no pun intended, if I came across that in a fucking story, I would definitely keep reading.
well, look up Jason Cheeks. He's an Amazon author. If you're a member of Amazon Prime
Mm-hmm.
Books,
Oh,
he's part of the
gotcha.
he's part of that. So you don't actually have to buy the book; you can borrow it.
Okay, cool.
Definitely worth reading. He's entertaining as fuck too. He does make the same mistake in his first into the second book that a lot of the lit RPG authors do. They give you the character sheet way too much.
Oh, I gotcha.
But like I swear, I'm like, bro, I love your books, but I don't need to know all of his stats
I don't.
repeated
Yeah,
a thousand
I
times.
don't need the stats. Yeah.
Like, give me his upgrade. Okay, he added 2 to strength. That's all I really need to know. You know, halfway through, you can go. You know, if he's leveled up a bunch of times, you can then throw out. Okay, so this is what it looks like right now. But every 2 chapters, I don't need to see an updated stat sheet.
I gotcha.
And he actually implemented that. He's like, yeah, a couple other people. I'm like, listen to us because
Mm-hmm.
I can't. By book 3, if you're still doing that, I'm done because I'm tired of reading stat. I don't need to read 30 skill sheets worth of pages of skills and abilities. And
Yeah,
but yeah, and he's on his 5th book, I believe.
that's cool.
It's definitely entertaining. A lot of people will worry. At least I know a lot of people think that he's kind of in the lit RPG harem genre,
Mm-hmm.
which has become very popular. And he kind of skirts into that. If that's your thing, hey, I don't care one way or another, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely an interesting read for anyone that's looking for an author to check out, especially if you're a gamer as well.
Yeah, and I mean that's what Game of Thrones scratches that itch for me at the moment because I'm still trying to find a game up north.
Isn't that weird? Like in high school, finding a D&D game wasn't that hard,
Yeah,
and everyone made fun of you for it. As an adult, it's damn near impossible.
yeah, seriously. It's because nobody wants to run a game. Everybody just wants to play.
Well, it's a lot of work to run a game.
Yeah, I know. Well, like especially when you have certain gamers, and like I'm definitely one of those. Like this one gaming group that I belong to, the guy who was running the game, he was so fucking excited. He had this great story for a pirate game, and so he had like taken the time and designed this entire fucking campaign. He came up with all of like the stats for fucking ocean battles and like drew up all of these ships and all this other shit. And he told us from the very beginning, he's like, I can't. This is pirate game, and so design your characters accordingly for growing up in a coastal town and like being used to being on the water and everything else like that. And so in the very first game, literally within 20 minutes, he started talking about how this caravan came in from this desert city, and it was coming into trade and then going back. And so all of us just kind of looked at each other and like, yeah, we're gonna sign on the caravan going back to the desert city. So literally within in under a half hour in the game that he designed to be on the water, we wound up in the dead middle of the fucking desert. He was very unhappy.
He should have. Why didn't he take prerogative of no one will hire you?
Yeah, he should have. But he wasn't one of those types of DMs where he wanted the game to be character driven, but at the same time
Within the world I've designed
yeah,
for you.
exactly. You take the time to fucking come up with that much shit. Don't let us leave the fucking ocean.
I've been like, yeah, they don't. They have a racist attribute against people from coastal towns.
Yeah, seriously.
Roll a charisma of 42.
Yeah, seriously. It was good though. The game wound up being a lot of fun because he went with it. I mean, we stopped playing that night. He's like, "That great, thanks. Everything that I had prepared for like the next year is out the fucking window." So he wound up just making some shit up on the fly, and then he's like, "All right, I'm out of ideas. Fuck you guys. I'm going home."
That happens quite often, unfortunately.
Yeah, but yeah.
So let me ask you something a little
Uh,
more. Is there any girl out there that you dated that you kind of wish you were still with, or that you'd done something different with?
No, I mean, I have regrets from just about each one of them, but like, all of them should have ended. Like, I,
Sooner than
like my very first girlfriend when I was still up in Staten Island when I was like 15. Like, she was my first real girlfriend. I'm in contact with her on a semi regular basis online. Like, she has a boyfriend. They live together. He seems like a really good guy. We both feel that we were very good first real relationship for each other, and so like we both kind of feel she put it in like a really good way. She's like, we were meant to happen, just not meant to be. And so that's probably, and that was a very formulative relationship for me. That established a lot of stuff that I'm into. A lot of who I am is still affected by that relationship, by the stuff that I discovered about myself in that relationship. Because I mean, I was 50. We dated for a year, and when I was 15, like who at 15 is in a relationship for a fucking year?
who at 15's into pegging after a year?
Yeah, I know. Seriously, she had a really fucking big strap on too. So
I love how you really have matured. Like back in the day, you'd be just like "fuck you" and shake your head. Now you're like, flow with it. I love it. I fucking love this shit. I don't want to watch him take the pegging, but hey, I love the
no,
fact that he can
it
flow
still
with
gets
it.
bloody. I get pretty tight still.
I love you.
But
That I might want to see.
yeah, there's a lot of blood. But anyway, I mean like there's definitely one chick that like she was coming out of a really long. I was a rebound that she wasn't expecting, and like in a good portion of my I don't think that like I'm not one of those where like every relationship that ends of mine, it's all the other person's fault. I know that I have my flaws. I know what I have a good idea of what most of my flaws are. I have learned very painfully sometimes what those flaws are. And so like um I'm kind of I just want to try and apply the what I've learned at this point. But like yeah, there's one chick that I wish I wasn't as lazy as I was in the relationship. Like it started out I wasn't lazy. I put forth all kinds of effort, but the moment I got comfortable like literally on every front. And so like after 7 months like we were dating for 7 months, and I look at her, I'm like, so do you have more than just because we started out as like friends with benefits type of thing,
Okay.
and then we became kind of exclusive. And it was like after 7 months I look at her, I'm like, do you have more than friendship feelings for me? Because we had a fucking great time together. We hung out, we did all kinds of shit together. And like like she was a total fucking geek. She was into cosplay and going to cons and all kinds of other shit. And so we had a really great time hanging out. We were great fucking friends. That we also had a really good time in bed together and shit like that. But again, like I said, I got lazy. I got comfortable, and I mean literally on all fronts, in bed, in the relationship, whatever. But like after 7 months, I look at her and I'm like, "Do you have more than friendship feelings for me?" And she said, "No. It's just like it was just friends." And so I ended it, and like we were gonna try to remain friends though because we did enjoy hanging out so much. But then after that, it was just like
Awkward.
it was kind of awkward because we didn't know what to do with each other. Like, should we touch? Should we not touch? Should like we hug? Should we not hug? And so but we very much missed each other's company because we were hanging out all the time. And so we decided to give it another shot. And so like after about another 2 weeks of us dating again, and I look at her, I'm like, well, I guess your opinion changed. She's like, no, my opinion didn't change. I'm like, then why did you agree to date me again? And she's like, I missed you. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Gut punch.
Yeah, so we kind of ended, and I'm like, yeah, I can't do this. I mean, like, if there's no, after seven, I'm not asking you to be in love with me after 7 months, but there's got to be like romantic feelings. It can't be just friendship. So yeah, I kind of ended it, and like, I'm still friends with her brother, and because I knew her brother in high school, but yeah, that one was, and then most recently, I tried a relationship with somebody that I had been friends with for a really long time,
Uh oh.
and we had a romantic history, and basically it wound up not working out because of that whole applying what I've learned from my past relationships. And I just, yeah, after everything with the now ex-wife, and I just was, there's just certain things that I just wasn't gonna
Settle for?
settle for again. And yeah, I was just unhappy, and I was frustrated way too much for a new relationship, even though we had like 11 years of friendship history.
Gotcha. So if you could go back to say 22, 21, 19, somewhere in that range, just out of high school, aged you, what advice, if you could make it stick, would you give yourself?
Well, I mean, honestly, unselfishly, I would force my dad to take Seth to the hospital, take Seth to the doctor when he
No,
first
no,
started
no.
complaining about pain.
But I'm talking about,
But me myself, don't get comfortable. Like that's been one of my biggest downfalls, was getting comfortable. And when I get comfortable, I'm a lazy guy. I'll be the first one to tell you that. And so the moment I get comfortable, I'm lazy. Like, I'm efficient for the sake of laziness. Like, people tell me, like, I have a really strong work ethic and I bust my
no,
ass, and
I'm efficient so I can work less.
I'm efficient so I can work less. Exactly. I do the job right the first time because I don't want to fucking do the job again, so I have time to fucking just fuck off and do nothing. So it's just like, don't get complete. Like, as far as relationship wise, don't get complacent. Like don't get lazy. Like, make every day like you're trying to woo her every single fucking day. You want to, like, that type of thing. Because had I done that, relationships that I'd been in the past probably would most likely have gone different ways. It would have gone differently. Um, and like, get on a treadmill. Don't get to 500 fucking pounds, because honestly, being 540 pounds, anybody that tells you that it doesn't affect your sex life is fucking lying. I mean, sex was tough. I had to, you had no choice but to find a chick that if I happened to like lose balance and fall, she wasn't gonna die. So like, you had to find a chick that was sturdy.
What about like when it comes to going to college and stuff like that?
um, while I'm glad I have my bachelor's degree, I definitely wouldn't have taken out as much student loans as I did. I would have tried to pay for it out of pocket a lot more, and I don't know, maybe especially since I'm in the tech field now, like doing product support. Like, I have an English degree. I have a bachelor's. Technically, my official bachelor's degree is interdisciplinary arts and humanities with a theme in English, which is a fucking mouthful for saying a guy that can't fucking pick a fucking thing and stick with it. So, like, it covers like history and English lit and theater and art and shit like that. So it's a general humanities degree,
Useless?
and it's completely useless in my field, except for the fact that I can stick with school long enough to complete something. So it serves me no purpose in my job right now.
If you could give advice to yourself going back through college, what would you tell yourself?
Oh, get the fuck out of college, get some fucking tech certifications, and fucking just start racking that shit up.
What about for when you were interested in doing trade work? Would you suggest, like a kid who's looking at that, would you suggest a trade or?
Uh, Definitely, absolutely, wholeheartedly. Like, the, a trade, you're never gonna be jobless. Honestly, there's always fucking work for like electricians, fucking plumbers, carpenters, everything, and just about any kind of construction. There's
Any
always
skilled trade?
any skilled trade. There's always work in it, and it's steady work. And honestly, if you go through the proper, I mean, yeah, you can be unskilled labor and fucking be making fucking $12 an hour off the books and shit for the rest of your life, but like if you get into union, or if you at least get like into where like working with like apprenticeships and getting like your journeyman and going that route. I mean, I know some people that make fucking money hand over fist, that they just put in the right amount of time in the right place, and they do their main job, they do their side work, and they're doing shit for, they're just doing fucking work.
And they're not putting in fucking ridiculous hours at this point anymore
Nope,
either.
no, I mean, they're putting in the hours they want to put in. I mean, yeah, they have their 40 hours a week, or 45 or 50 hours a week, depending on what kind of job it is. They put in the fucking time, and if they want to work more, they can. If they don't want to work more, they don't fucking have to. And they're not paying back hundreds of thousands of dollars of fucking student loans. Because, I mean, it's fucking insane. Like, I have way more student loans. I'm going to be paying my student loans off literally for the rest of my fucking life. Because I give them about $100 a month. So, like, I'm never going to pay off my student loans. Ever.
Now,
It's a bill that I'm going to have literally to the day I fucking die.
ouch. All right, so you're similar age as me.
Mm-hmm.
We know my political spectrum has been all over my whole life.
Yep.
What about you? Like,
I fucking hate politics. But I would definitely, I'm not, I kind of walk the line, honestly. It's pretty much how I kind of do most of my life. I walk the line. And like, while I tend to hang out on the more liberal side, it's because liberal side tends to be more accepting, in my opinion.
I
But
agree with that.
it's just like, you want to own a gun, own a fucking gun. You want to fucking smoke a joint, smoke a fucking joint. You want to fucking go live in the woods and on some fucking hippie commune, which is what I genuinely would love to fucking do. I would love to have a fucking commune where the people I live with are the people that I genuinely want to see on a daily basis, and not all these other fucking assholes that I have to deal with on a daily basis.
I'll make sure to show up and say hi.
You would be invited, just because we need the crazy person to fucking make sure we're all safe.
I'm kind of flabbergasted. Like, and it was actually awakened because I watched Eddie Izzard on.
I'm going to see in New York on May
Oh no,
25th.
I saw him do the
can't wait.
podcast with Joe Rogan.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, it was actually an interesting podcast because, like, I was trying to understand like my thought process because like I've never cared about someone being transgender. I don't care. Like that's
And
your
technically,
thing.
he's not transgender. He's just
No,
he's
he's
just a
come-
cross-dresser.
No, he's transgender. He said it on the podcast. He identifies as a woman
Oh.
who
okay.
happens to like women.
Oh, okay.
He just doesn't plan on having a sex change for it because sometimes he does feel like he's. Oh, I'm sorry. The correct is he's gender fluid. He primarily
okay.
identifies as a woman,
Okay.
but there are times he identifies as a man.
All right. Well, yeah.
Whatever.
Don't listen to me. I'm
Which-
a fucking idiot. He's funny. He's fucking intelligent. That's all I care
Yeah,
about.
well, that's the funny thing is I thought about it. I'm like, I remember him in my formative years, you know, and
When he was doing Dress to Kill on HBO.
yeah, and I'm like, I thought he was entertaining, funny, smart, witty.
Mm-hmm.
He happened to wear makeup and women's clothes. Okay,
Yeah. Whatever.
like that's exactly my point. I'm like, this guy's entertaining, smart, funny.
Mm-hmm.
Who gives a fuck how he's dressed or what he's wearing?
Yep. Seriously.
I mean-
Honestly, dude, if there's any foreigner that I think should be our president, it's him.
Oh, he's actually getting into British politics.
Oh yeah, and I know he's been running for parliament and shit over there.
Yeah.
But honestly, if any foreigner, I think honestly like he should be our fucking president because just the shit that he would fucking do.
Or Sting.
Or Sting.
The spice must flow.
Well, no, that would be Kyle MacLachlan at that point.
Sting.
All right. Trevor Noah's good too.
I think Trevor Noah's funny.
Yeah. No, not as a politician.
Oh, okay.
No.
I was gonna say,
No, I just like Trevor Noah because he's a good political comic.
but keep in mind he's a comic. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the
Most-
most comics.
Well,
I wouldn't want in politics. Except for Ron White. I would love Ron White in politics.
But no, like Eddie Izzard. I mean, he's a comic. He's a stand-up comic. But at the same time, he is running for fucking parliament in England, and he is very, very political in a lot of his shit. And he's very highly intelligent. But he does so much. Like, I mean, I don't know if I didn't even know he did fucking Joe Rogan's fucking podcast. I got to check it out. But there was the whole thing he did. The 56 fucking marathons he ran.
27 of them
Oh,
for
20, it was
27.
27.
Well, no, he did 50. He did 27 of them in 27 days
Mm-hmm.
in honor of Nelson Mandela's 27 years in prison.
And then the last, and that what was cool about that was like the last marathon
He did two.
ended. Yeah, he did 2 in the last day, and he ended it by at Nelson Mandela's statue
Yeah,
in South Africa.
he tells that story. He's like, yeah, I did it like 13 seconds before they turned off the cameras.
Yeah, seriously.
No, he's like, literally, like, I knew when they were turning off the cameras, and I'm like having to run faster than I've ever run before to make it. He's like,
Yeah.
and I just made it.
I mean, it's insane. 27 marathons in 27 days with only one day off because his doctor forced him to. So he ran two in the last day.
And he tried running marathons in Africa before, and it almost killed him.
Mm-hmm. So the fact that he trained like that just because.
Oh no, he didn't train. He did 6 weeks pre-training.
It's insane, dude.
Like, that's it. He did 6 weeks pre-training for this.
He's a scary guy, but I mean, like I said, he's fucking
Woman, don't name, whatever. He's a very
Eddie Izzard is fucking awesome. End of story.
yes. And he's got very interesting. He's like, look, in some school, he goes, in a school, they got rid of all the gendered bathrooms. They got rid of all the urinals. All the bathrooms only have stalls now, and they're unisex, boys and girls both. He goes, I don't know why. I can't explain it to you, but this is the fact. They have found that bullying has gone down in the unisex bathrooms.
Okay, that
And
works.
he goes, I don't know what the scientific reason. And I'm thinking about it. I'm going, well, why don't girls, until they hit, high school typically, really bully other girls too much, except for in the bathroom? It's because there's usually a boy who happens to like that girl who will stand up for her.
Okay.
I mean, that's my mental thought process. There's always that boy, whether it's a friend of hers because they grew up together or because he likes her, that's always hanging around her.
Mhm.
And if other girls are mean, especially at that elementary and middle school age, you don't think as a boy, because you really haven't had that, beat, especially in this day and age, being that boys don't hate girls. It's we're all equal. So if a girl's being mean to your friend, it's just somebody. It's not even a girl. It's somebody's being mean to your friend, and a girl is obviously going to back down to an aggressive male. That's just reality for the most part.
I guess.
But yeah, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Just
No,
throw out the urinals, go backwards in technology, is what he said.
Hey,
If it works.
whatever works, dude. Honestly, it's like, I don't know, the whole gender equality thing. I'm very much a proponent for gender equality. I mean, I do classify myself as a male feminist and everything. So
Fucking faggot.
I know, I can't fucking help it.
I'm an equalitist. I'm all for equality.
Exactly.
My only point I want to point out is don't confuse like the whole gender pay gap. Like, is there a pay gap? I don't dispute that. I don't doubt it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not what they say it is, and they're not looking at the whole picture.
No, I don't. I have no idea.
Like,
I haven't looked into any of it. I don't know.
I have, because like here's the thing, okay? And you'll probably recognize this, okay? Typically, men in white collar jobs like you're talking about, where the biggest pay gaps typically exist, men will work 50 hours a week, where women are working 40. And another aspect of it is women negotiate for non-taxable benefits better than men. So if you're sitting down and applying for the job, you'll take it for, just call it 15 an hour to give it a round even number, and you'll pay your full medical. Whereas a woman will negotiate for $14 an hour or $13.50 an hour, but she gets full medical coverage paid by the company.
Which honestly, I would argue is probably better than the $15 and I'm paying for my medical.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is these are the things that they don't calculate when they talk about the wage gap.
I guess.
And they don't talk about, you're making 15 an hour and you're working 50 hours a week hourly, and the smart lady is making $13.50 and only working 40, because it's important to her to go home and see her boyfriend, husband, kid, whatever it might be, dog, cat, whatever she's got. Not saying all women, but the majority thereof. If you take 50 women and 50 men, 40 men are working 50 hours, 10 women are working 50 hours.
Yeah.
But when you take a large group of 50 and 50, you get a massive disparity that starts to show up.
I guess. I can't speak on it one way or the other. Like the way I see it, like it's better now than it's ever been, and I hope it just keeps getting better. I'm all about equality, and it's funny because like when I would I was actually just telling a friend of mine, because like working the door at Respects, like we would have like I was telling him like we had the cheapest drinks on the block and everything, and so everybody would always wind up coming through. They would pay like $15 a head for these fucking douchey fucking clubs down the street on the other side of the fucking tracks, and not blink an eye, and spend like $10 a drink, and it's like nothing. But they come over to Respects and they want to give me shit because I'm charging a $5 cover to pay a couple local bands, and they don't want to fucking pay the cover. And so like I'm still the angry bitter fat kid. So the pretty people trying to pretty their way past me at the front door,
Just never worked.
it never worked. Like it like
Score one for us ugly people.
yeah, seriously, you try to pretty your way past me, I'll double the fucking cover. So but the girls would be like, oh, even the girls have to pay. I'm like, yes, we treat women equally here, and you just set back the feminist movement 50 years. Thank you.
Well, here was my thing. Here's my biggest gripe with the and like I said, I'm not disputing that there is a wage gap that exists. It's not as
You just have gay on the mind. Holy fuck.
I know it's how sexy you look these days. I can't help it.
What can I say? It's what I inspire.
I know you do, but it's disingenuous to those women who are negotiating for benefits that are non-taxable. Like they're fucking smart. They're essentially, in my opinion, they're brilliant in what they're doing. And it's disingenuous to tell them, well, you're making less money. Well, no, that woman was very smart and negotiated very, intelligently and got all these benefits that, are non-tax, yeah, they come off the top, but she knows what she's planning on working. And she negotiated based on it. She knows she's not doing 50 hours here because she's got her situation.
Well, like, I mean, speaking to
and
that,
that
like,
pisses me off. Like,
yeah, I mean, like in my position, my job, I'm one of three people on my support team. 2 guys, 1 girl. I actually brought both of those people on. They worked with me at a previous job. We had openings. I was able to help them get hired. I've been on the team the longest. I make more than the both of them because of the amount of time I was on. They got hired on at the same exact price I was hired on. She is a mother of 3. She's married. I was married when I got hired. I had my 2 stepkids, and the third guy, completely single, no attachments. All of us made exactly the same. I'm a whore. He's a whore. So we do the on-call. She doesn't want to participate in the on-call because it involves weekends. She would rather take that time to spend not having to worry about being available to take calls from customers. So she doesn't participate in it. So she doesn't get that money. Okay, that's her choice. She gets the same benefits. She gets the same everything across the board, except me and the other guy on my support team. We split the 52 weekends a year of on call,
which is more money.
More money for us, but it doesn't count towards our base salary. I make a little more because I've been with the company almost 2 years and they haven't. So it works out that way. And that's the thing
where she's making a value judgment, and I don't identify as a feminist. I completely identify as an equalitist.
I would say that I would fall into that. I mean, I honestly, I think women are way smarter than men most of the time, but whatever.
Yeah. And here's the other thing. Here's my biggest issue with feminism as it exists today is if you keep marching down this feminist needs to set equality, eventually it becomes, well, women are superior to men, which we all know in reality is the truth.
Yeah.
But you go from...
In many, many, many ways.
Yes, in many, many, many ways. There's other ways that men are, in fact, superior, such as physically strength. That's just genetics.
Yeah, but I'm not going to pick a fight with Ronda Rousey.
I would so let her kick the shit out of me.
Oh, yeah,
I'd fight back, too.
You would pretend to fight back.
Oh, no, I would hit her back because I've seen her throw leg kicks and punches, and she can hit.
Yeah, I know.
I would have no choice but to hit her back, but I would love the ass whooping that was coming my way.
Yeah, you would totally get off on it.
Yes, I would probably. So what? But, it's... You go from then a patriarchy that they complain about, which I understand that this country has been primarily run by white men. I got that. Yeah. I understand. But you're not going to tell me in this day and age with, what's happening that it's still a patriarchy. It's a private club inside Congress and the Senate, I'll agree.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean...
It's working its way. It's better than it's been. Well, I mean, it got really good for a little while, and then we got the Cheeto. But
I think the Cheeto's great for the country. I don't think he's a good president, but I think
what by shining a mirror of what everything that's wrong in the country.
in part, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
And he's making it difficult for this alleged bipartisanship to hide the fact that it's not just one partisanship that plays both sides against the middle.
Yeah.
And like that's the reality is the Republican and Democratic Party are essentially the same thing, just two different mouth platforms. But they're it's a long con. They're running a con on the American people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, in my opinion is if people don't want someone like Trump as president, then they need to sit down and we need to collectively as a nation,
Mm-hmm.
all go, we are not going to vote an incumbent back into office this election cycle.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're the Democratic incumbent, don't run because you're not going to win.
Mm-hmm.
If you're the Republican incumbent, you better find someone else. Otherwise, the Republicans are losing that seat.
Mm-hmm.
We want and literally go, if you've held office, if you've held office, you're not going to win. We're voting for someone who's never held office before.
Yeah.
And if we did that, we could fix everything real quick because they'd go, oh fuck, we played these games too long and we're all gone.
See, honestly, I think a portion of it is a good amount of fear though, because like if you start introducing like the like third, fourth parties, because there's no reason that we should stick to two parties. And even though we do technically have other parties, it's just none of them are ever fucking viable. Because even if there was somebody viable in one of those other parties, everybody's afraid that if they go for one of those other parties, then their vote against who they don't want to be in elected in is not gonna it's gonna be like a wasted vote.
Well, the way the elections, the gerrymandering, and everything else happens, there's just not enough. When it comes to the U.S. Senate and Congress, there's just not enough people to go past it. Like we could get away with a third party, but if you go past that, you just don't have enough people behind it. Like that's why the Tea Party fell apart so quick.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I get what they were after. I mean, honestly, I'm at the point where I have a huge issue. Look, I have no problem what your religious beliefs are, but I don't think we should be legislating on religious beliefs at all.
Mm-hmm.
Get religion out of politics. I have a huge problem with people that look. You can be pro-life, that's fine. I respect your choice, but I have a problem when you're creating legislation that impacts someone else's right to choose. Period. Whether it's about abortion, whether it's about drug use, whether it's about
a fucking gun,
a firearm. And if we decriminalize all this and make it very clear, look, you go fucking commit a mass murder, you're convicted, you're dead tomorrow. There's no 20 years. At this point, now I get it. Like it's fucked up because there are people that have been put on death row that were innocent, so I get that. But at the same time, there's so many people sitting in jail that shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got to fix the criminal justice system.
Yeah.
Obviously. There's all kinds of minor issues with that.
There's just shit wrong everywhere. And it sucks. It's very defeating almost because it's like, where the fuck do you start?
By putting me as president of the United States.
I think we would fucking collapse like a flan in a cupboard.
No, we wouldn't. Fuck you. I would fix so much shit so quick. I mean, you might want to make me dictator for life, but I'm not doing that job.
Nah, you're just a dick for life.
I am a dick. That is true.
Very true.
Can't dispute that. Fucking douchebag.
Yeah, pretty much. At least I don't pump my fist.
I don't even know what the fuck that's supposed to be. How is it?
I don't remember.
I always thought, wait, is it a choo-choo train? Choo-choo, motherfucker!
No, I think it's like they're jerking off in the air. Like, yeah, kind of.
Oh. There you go, God. I'm jerking you off, God. Come on, God. Come on top of him. Right all over his face. You ready to get the fuck out of here?
Yeah, sure. Where are we going now?
Uh,
I don't know.
we're going to go see some friends, and then we're going out.
Okay, cool.
Ladies
oh, wow,
and gentlemen.
It's 8:30. Holy shit.
Yeah, time flies. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on another wonderful Blue Collar Genius, where common sense is common till I start drinking. We out this bitch.